Om Shanti, and welcome to this special conversation with Sister Janki from Bali, Indonesia. Sister Janki has been in the spiritual knowledge for the last 35 years, and she is now serving the centers in Bali. She has also been an ex-government officer with the Malaysian government, and we are very happy to have her in the studio to know about her spiritual experience. Om Shanti and welcome.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Sister Janki, you were a mother of 2 children when you got the knowledge, as I understand. Tell us about what was it that attracted you to the spiritual path. You were also a lecturer. What happened suddenly?
Yes, you see, all of us, we have like 2 kinds of desires. One is the outer desire, where we want comfort for the body, a name for the body, and maybe some wealth and things like that. But there's another need that all of us have, and it's an inside need, an inside calling. And that was very strong in me from very early. So even though the outside needs were almost like fulfilled, the inside needs weren't answered at all. And so there was this thirst to look for something that would really keep me satisfied, contented. And so I started looking. And when I came across Brahma Kumaris, I liked the teachings because it gave me a sense of being myself, who I am, what I am, and what I should do. And that really made me like feeling that I could touch myself, I could be at home with myself and feel the real me that is happy and contented. So that was what attracted me to Brahma Kumaris. And the other thing was about how I connect with God, because God is very personal in all our lives. I think all of us will love God, but how do we get in touch with Him and create a relationship? That I learned in meditation, and it really helped me a lot. So that was a very great pull for me.
Good to know that. Sister, all of us, when we are working, we go through a lot of challenges. And the challenges sometimes are carried forward in the spiritual life if they're not sorted out. So was it with you as well? What were you before and after when you got Gyan? Because I understand that you traveled and you've settled in many cities across the world. Tell us about the way you faced challenges before.
Yes.
And the way you face challenges after, practicing the spiritual knowledge. Was there a difference? Was it the same? Was it easy or difficult?
That's a very interesting question, because when you're in a household, your vision is only for the household, your family, the family members, their well-being, their education, their future. This is all that concerns a person in a household, and I was like that. But when I started to expand my vision and also my activities, and I saw more families, more communities, more
You were
countries.
working also at that time?
I was working, and so it was my work, my family, the money, the position, and the whole focus was on that. And of course it's quite normal for everybody. But then there's also a feeling that there is something more that we haven't touched, we haven't seen. And so when I was asked to do seva, service, and leave my job, I really took it up, and it was a real blessing for me. At that time I didn't realize, but now when I look back, there's so many lessons that I have learned, so many. and from a very narrow vision of a family, the well-being of a family, now I can see how the whole world needs like inner peace. The whole world is looking for long-lasting happiness, long-lasting contentment, and through meditation, with regular practice, I think many people can really achieve that. And so we have fulfilling the needs of the body and fulfilling the needs of the inner self, the soul. So by experiencing how others feel and how they live and what they believe and what they're looking for and how happy people are, so we know that there is something missing in the world today. So meditation helps. And what is good about meditation is each one of us is asked to give time for the inner self, which we normally neglect. We are all the time busy on the outside, and we hardly give time for the inner self because we don't know what to do with ourselves. So when we learn meditation, so we really begin to appreciate the self as it is and slowly help to make the self more understanding, more loving, and then also to teach the self to grow. And that really gives true happiness, and it's long lasting.
Very beautiful. You know, you had a full family, an extended family, a full-time job, and at the same time you took up the spiritual service. So what was the reaction of your family, and what was the relationship that developed after it? Was it very cooperative? Was it strong? Or
Yes, at the beginning I was in a good job, and so when I told myself that I want to leave the job and go deeper into meditation, of course the family members, they were against me, but they gave me the freedom because I was an adult and it was my choice. So they were quite worried about me. Of course I'm a family member, but now when they see me, they're so happy, they congratulate me, they're proud of me. So that's good, because all of us, we have our own destiny, we have our own lives to lead, and that takes us to where we have to go. And I feel that I made the right choice, and I have many happy memories before and after meditation. Before I came to meditation and after I've come to meditation. So I appreciate the family, small family, and also the world family. So there's a feeling of belongingness, and there's so many lessons in life, because life is a school. And so when you meet people, there are challenges, they create problems. When someone takes care of 2 children or 4 children, they have a big headache how to deal with them, their schooling and their future. But here, when I'm in a meditation center, there are hundreds of children and many different characters, nature. But slowly, they begin to understand me and I begin to understand them. And so there's this cooperation just like in a family, and there is love and there is faith, and also there is a kind of growing together. The teacher grows, the students grow, everyone grows as they learn and as they study. So there's a feeling of having achieved something over the years. So meditation is not just sitting in silence and having good thoughts, but it's a slow build-up of power from day to day, slow build-up, and as you accumulate more power, there is more strength, there is more faith, there is more love and courage, plus humility. So this gives so much of inner contentment, not only to the person who's teaching or who's learning, but to the family members as well who don't come for meditation. They see those who study meditation, they are calmer, they are more understanding, or they are more patient. So they see the difference, and it creates a very nice feeling in the family as well. So meditation is, I feel, a kind of a must for everybody, a hobby that everyone should take up. Because whatever we do for the body, whether it's like physical, money, position, that's a temporary thing. But we need something that is more long-lasting and it stays with us, and that has to do with the soul. And when the soul learns meditation, and when the soul gets this inner power and this humility, this inner contentment, that is something that the soul carries with it forever. So that is a real, a blessing.
It's been 35 years for you.
Yes.
Tell us how you have grown in the spiritual knowledge, the understanding which you had when you were like 30 years, 35 years before, and the understanding that you have now.
Yes.
With your relationship with God, your experience, and of course the general understanding of knowledge. Is it the same, or has it grown over the years?
It's totally different. As a young person, of course I wanted a very good husband and a good family and nice children and lots of money and lots of wealth, and to me that was everything. And after marriage, there was this greater concern for the children, that they also have to be successful, that they have to be healthy, that they have to study well, they have to have good jobs. So this kind of trend, that from me to the children and then on for further generations, is a never-ending story. So I realized that concentrating on the outside is good, but there has to be a limit, and I can only do so much in one lifetime as a wife, as a mother, as a working person, as a family member. I can do so much, and I will do my best. But apart from that, I have my own inner needs, my inner vision of myself that has to be fulfilled, because this is the inner thirst that has to be answered. I was quite religious. I looked at many scriptures. I loved all of them, but still there was something that was missing. And when I took up meditation, I found that thirst was slowly disappearing, and I was getting more intoxicated, and I was feeling more like fulfilled, and this kept me going, and it's still keeping me going, So like it's a never-ending story, because there's so much to feel inside, and life is a school.
Very beautiful. What is that one value that you've stood by, and that value stood by you?
I wouldn't call it one value, I would say two. One is courage, and the other is faith. The courage to be different, and the faith that God and goodness will always be victorious. Of course, the journey may not be smooth. There would be many trials, there would be many storms, but the faith that everything will be okay. But to keep strength, to keep faith, that goodness, that what you think is the truth will definitely be victorious. So courage to be different, and the faith that goodness is the best. God is the best.
Very beautiful. Sister, you've been originally from Malaysia. You moved to another country, and you moved to several different countries, I understand. Where the language is different, people are different, culture is different. How did you adjust?
The important thing is to convince the self that wherever that one is placed or one is situated, that is the place for that person. And I took up this position for myself, that I'm in this place, I have to get along. And so there is this power to see what they want and the power to adjust, because people are different, people's thoughts are different, their belief systems are different. The power to adjust according to their wishes, and slowly to also help them to change to a better way of thinking, to a better way of reasoning, and to a better way of living a life. But this is a process. It doesn't come instantly, it's a process. So as they also learn to accept me, maybe as a friend or as a teacher, whatever, and also myself to accept them, it's a process. So there is at first this feeling of doubt in them. Why is this person here? What are we going to lose? What changes will come? There's this kind of fear. But then slowly they find that everything is just very gentle, very loving, very warm. And so they are curious and they come nearer and then they study and then they feel good. So it's a process, and slowly a family grows. So family is mostly relationships. So when relationships are good, everything is harmonious.
Oh, like the place where you are in, it's got a lot of, how do you say, rituals, where people believe in a lot of rituals.
Yes.
You can even call it dogmas.
Yes.
Belief system of doing things in a very specific way. And can we call it something, a society which is closed with its own thoughts and ideas about the religion? When people become like that, how do you bring them out to enlighten them and to show them their own light and to show them and give them the experience of the light of God? Because, if I'm stuck with the idea that I have to do this, otherwise something wrong will happen. Can you give an example? How did you helped someone to come out, or is there a story that you have?
It's like this, Hussein. Every society in the world, every society, it has its own belief systems, its own customs, systems, and it has grown over so many centuries. And so it's like something permanent in people. To make them change is not something easy. But what you can do is, you can tell them, look at this candle, it's giving light. Yeah, it's giving light. But look at this bulb, it's giving light. Which is better? To show them that this is good, but this is better. So they start thinking that, why don't we try this? But it has to be done very gently, because people are quite sensitive and also maybe a little afraid. What will happen if there's a change? So it has to take its course over a long period of time.
You mentioned before that you were a religious person and you had read a lot of scriptures, and of course it was giving you some sort of a comfort.
Yes.
And now, of course, you're a Raj Yogi for the last 35 years. What, according to your experience, have you found the difference between the religion and spirituality when you're practicing it?
Oh, there's a vast difference. So when I did religion, and I was quite a religious person, I believed in God, but I had no idea what God was or what God is and what He does and where He is. Lots of things I didn't know, but I knew that He was good, and He could take many forms according to my belief. It could take many forms. But where, what, why, how, and what do we benefit? Those things were not answered. It's just like blind faith. It's just blind love. It's just blind, surrender. And that was good also, because it kept me going for such a long period. But now after coming to Brahma Kumaris and learning meditation, what I feel is God is not somebody up there, very big and very great, but somebody very close to me, my father, my friend. I'm never alone. I don't have to be afraid. So that relationship has been created over the years, and that has given me another kind of a love, which I really love, because I feel more confident. I feel I'm never alone, and I feel I am changing slowly over a period of time. I'm changing slowly to being more strong, to be more firm, to be more contented, to be loving and also gentle. So all these things. So there is a greater expansion of the self to take in more people, to accommodate more people, to accept more people, to also accept their weaknesses, to accept their bad points, because they are people, and also to appreciate and to encompass everybody. So there is more tolerance, more understanding, and all inclusive sort of thing. And this comes with the faith that in each person there is an innate goodness, and each person there is true love. To get to that point, to touch that point, you have to be like a mother, a friend, a true guide who is non-judgmental. It takes time, but that relationship can be created. So there's a kind of a closeness that develops over a period of time. So the change has to come with me, that I have to accept. And then when that comes from me, the other can also see that change and also make that change in themselves. So I have to have that courage to change, and that feeling that it's my role to bring them close. So once that feeling comes, they also feel that, and they can get close. So it's a learning process. Of course, I've made mistakes, but I've also learned from the mistakes, and I grew, because life is such an interesting process. So nobody is like all knowing. So I find life interesting, and even now I feel that there's so much to know. There's so many good people over there, and so many people are waiting to be touched. So it's a huge task.
So you've shared very beautifully that though religion can hold you for some time, but it can't really develop your innate self and your relationship with God. And only when we recognize our real self and God as He is, can we develop that relation. And I think when that relation is fulfilling us and we are getting the power, it is then we are able to accept others as they are, good, bad or ugly. And the powers that you mentioned, the sort of powers that the self develops, and it can only be through the power of meditation. It's such a beautiful, how beautifully you expressed, and the whole journey of, but even the mistakes don't seem like mistakes, they're like stepping stones, and they're like learnings. And because people out there, even if there's a small mistake, they just think they're not worthy. But spirituality tells us that it doesn't matter, it's a part of life, and you have to grow out of it. So this is so lovely to hear from you, that even mistakes we can be proud of, because you've learned from them. So as we are, it's been a wonderful conversation with you, but as we are closing, I think our audience, people who are looking at you and listening to you, they'd like to know more from you. What is your message for the audience?
We all have 24 hours in a day, all of us. Never ever say that I don't have time. Just give 5 minutes or 10 minutes of each day just for yourself, your inner self, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Whatever you're doing on the outside, it comes from inside you. And if you just give a little time for the inside, then your outside will become very beautiful. So give time to yourselves. Love yourselves.
Thank you for that beautiful message, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sister.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.